Goal. So, welcome back. We have been talking about triggers. We've been practicing our uploading calm to ourselves and practicing staying calm in the face of upset, practicing the skills that we're learning on how to get ourselves calm in the face of upset. So, what is our ultimate goal? Likely, your ultimate goal is to work on a behavior that's happening in your classroom, right? So we've said this many times at this point. It starts with us. So our calm is necessary to implement any new tools, for us to provide you with new tools, for you to provide the children in your classroom with new tools. We need to be in our executive state. We need to be ready to learn. We need to be calm, right? Composed. That's what we're working on. So while we're working on uploading calm and then downloading the calm to them, this is where we start, because we know that none of that stuff's going to happen, right? The skills, the teaching, the problem solving, all lives in the executive state. So we need to meet the needs of the states below it, right? So we can only be in executive state if we have met the needs of the brain states below it. Active calm is what allows us to hit that pause button to pull off the road between the stimulus and the response, right? It's the difference between stimulus react and stimulus respond, right? So we have been practicing building those new neural pathways. The one that says, when this kid hits, I take a breath, I tell myself I've got this, they need my help before I respond. So we're practicing that every time we're able to do that. That neural pathway is going to get stronger. And we're also practicing seeing the behaviors in front of us as a call for help instead of a personal attack on our peace by a 4-year-old or a 9-year-old. And that's easy to sit here and say. It's harder when it's in the moment. But if we are still grasping a hold of this, like, I need this kid to stop.
Call 246. Dwayne, call 246. Thank you.
Or I need this kid to change, then we're gonna still be stuck in that emotional state, right? So that's another thing we gotta really work on, retraining our brain. So what's the next step when we are able to successfully remain calm, in charge of our emotions, and composed? What is our next best step? How are we going to meet the needs for the states below it, right? So we know that in order to be an executive state, we need to meet the need for connection. So before we meet the need for connection, what do we need? Safety. Our most basic need is safety. Here's your reminder that it's perceived safety, right? We don't get to decide whether they're safe or not. They get to decide whether they feel safe or not. So it's our job to meet the need for safety. Now, um, in our survival state, we're not likely to have eye contact or allow us to touch, right? So we're learning, we hold and we download calm. Well, what do we do if they don't let us hold them? We are practicing, getting them to look at us, our eye contact, so those mirror neurons can help them take that breath. I get eye contact and I breathe. Their mirror neurons kick into that time that we showed them how to breathe, that we taught them how to breathe, that we breathed for them, and their body's going to take a breath and start to relax too. They're going to bring that state down. So how do we do it if we can't get eye contact or touch? And that's describe. This is the first thing in our DNA process that we're going to talk about today, that we're going to do to help download calm to our kiddos. And the first is describe. So we mirror and notice the child's body language in order to notice. As an aid for downloading calm, we describe and demonstrate what the child is doing. So this is not about a judgment. We're not describing what we think their behavior is. We are literally noticing and describing and repeating, demonstrating what their body is doing. Your arms went like this. Your face is like this. Your head went like this. Your foot went like this. Okay? Demonstrating the child's body in this way creates a natural urge for them to look at you and see what's happening, right? It helps us gently encourage eye contact without demanding compliance by saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? Man, that's scary. And that will keep them in their survival state. We don't want them to persist in their survival state. We certainly don't want to put them further into it. And how many times do we do that? Look at me, because we think that they can't hear us unless they're making eye contact. They can. We want their eye contact in this situation for a completely different reason. We want them to take a nice deep breath with us. So we describe that. Your face is going like this. Your arms went like this. When the child looks at us, we begin our downloading calm. We begin our regulation process by taking a deep breath. We start downloading our calm, right? We cut the intensity of the moment. This pause gives the child's nervous system a pause to begin to dissipate the emotional intensity of what's happening. So remember, perceived safety, we don't get to decide, right? We don't get to decide when they're out of their survival state. We are noticing. So while our technical first step in downloading calm is keeping calm ourselves, this doesn't work without me being calm first. If I go into this describe irritated and just so frustrated that this kid is doing this again, then your face is going like this is going to be like, your face is going like this, your arms went like this, right? It doesn't work. I need to go in there with the intention to calm and to provide safety so I can teach. This is never going to be about, I don't care that they're throwing blocks. I only care about their brain state. I care that they're throwing blocks because I want everybody in the room to be safe, but I have to care about their brain state and meet those needs first so that I can teach them what to do instead of throwing the blocks. So when the child looks at us, and we keep describing, we describe a few times, they're not looking at us yet. I'm going to take a couple breaths, right? So we're going to listen. We want to think about that listen more, talk less, while I'm also telling you to talk. So this isn't like your face went like this, your ear went like this, your arm went like this, your foot went like this, your something went like this. I'm saying, oh, your arms went like this. Pause. Then your face went like this. Your foot went like this, right? I'm going to keep going slowly and breathe and be calm until I get that eye contact. They're going to be curious, right? They're going to be curious. They're going to look. So when they make that eye contact, I start, right? I smile. I take a deep breath. And I relax. Do that with me. Smile. Take a deep breath. And relax. Remember the mirror neurons. We want them to do what we are doing. So we smile, take a deep breath, and relax. And just because those mirror neurons may not automatically make them smile, right, in the midst of their upset, but their brain is going to remember what that is, right? Where our brain is doing a lot of things for us, and all we have to do is smile, take a deep breath, and relax, right? So once we've made that eye contact, what do we know? We are moving up. We have met the need for safety, which is why they are able to make eye contact with us. So now we're at the second step of our DNA process, which is N. Name. Name the feeling. Name the feeling that the child is communicating. You seem angry. We're going to use a questioning tone and we're going to do our very best guess, right? So you seem sad, you seem angry, you seem frustrated. We're going to do our very best to guess. And that questioning tone is helpful too, right? I'm not making an accusation. Again, I am calm, I'm cool, I've got it together. And I'm saying, you seem angry. And then I'm going to go right to the A, acknowledge. You wanted to play longer, right? If I stop it, you seem angry. So I'm in survival state. I am naming until I get the eye contact. They are signaling me that they are in emotional state. In emotional state, I am going to name what I believe to be the emotion that's happening, right? To name what's happening. And now it's my job to pull them up to the executive state. So I'm not going to keep naming the feeling and waiting for them to say, yep, that's exactly it. I'm going to name the feeling. You seem angry, and I'm going to pull them, right? I'm going to try and pull them right up with me to executive state and say, you wanted to play longer. Okay. So my hint when I do that, if I can say, you wanted to play longer, if they scream at me and say, no, I didn't, or I'm not angry, then I know, oh, I'm still in emotional state. They're yelling. That's an emotional state response. I haven't quite got them to their executive state yet. Because executive state is going to be able to think about that and say, yeah, I wanted to play longer. And then I can problem solve with this kiddo. Or I can say, it's hard to clean up. I'll help you. And then we'll go to the gym together. Or a myriad of other problem solving things that we can talk about in the future. But to get there, this is what has to happen, right? So your arms went like this. As soon as I get that eye contact, I breathe. You seem angry. You were hoping to play longer. You wanted mommy to stay longer. You were hoping to be able to go to the gym with that group, whatever the problem is that we're working on, right? So DNA, describe, name, acknowledge, right? I'm describing in the survival state. I get the eye contact. I can get that connection. Okay. Now I'm going to name it and I'm going to try to hop with them, right? Hold their hand and bring them up into that executive state. Again, if they're not ready, if they are telling you I'm not in my executive state yet, then we're going to stay in this emotional state and say, oh, yeah, you're angry. You're angry and I'm here to help you. Okay? So, we're going to talk about some common mistakes and then you're going to do some practice. So, common mistakes with this is we forget to upload before we download, right? With challenging children, we can unconsciously begin to guard against misbehavior before it occurs. There is nobody that will watch this video. There's nobody that will have a conversation with the person that they're working with that will probably easily admit that we hold grudges against children, but we do, you do, someone does, lots of people do hold grudges against children, right? There are kids that come into our program that we are like, I don't know if I can handle this today. So that's okay. We need to be aware of it, right? Because something that child is doing is triggering something inside us. And one of the most important things for us to remember about our triggers are they're our responsibilities, not the child. That child is not responsible for your trigger. You are responsible for your trigger. And part of this with a challenging child, a challenging relationship in our classroom is going to be remembering fresh start, right? Don't keep that guard up against that kid, because I'll tell you what, if you keep that guard up against that misbehavior, you will lose every opportunity for connection. And if you want things to change, right, who can you change? The child or yourself? It's you. Okay. A second common mistake is that we forget to physically demonstrate, right? We say it, but we don't act it out. We are becoming a mirror. We want them to look at us. When we say your arms went like this, when they look at us, we want them to see us doing this, right? Your face looks like this. Your face went like this. When they look at us, we want it, okay? And here's a good one. Your hands covered your face. This doesn't give them a reason to turn and look at you, right? So if children think in pictures, don't paint the picture for them so they don't have to look at you. Oh, you're frowning. You're crying. Your arms are crossed. You're stomping your feet, right? There's no reason to look. I want to look when you are telling me your arms went like this, your face went like this. Okay? Another mistake is we forget to take that deep, slow breath. So the instant that the child looks at us, we want to take the breath first. It's calm for me. It's calm for them. Mirror neurons, right? We want this process to happen before we jump into you seem angry. We unconsciously download with the intent of making the child comply. Your intention carries an energy. Your intention, we talked about energy previously, about how contagious it is, right? The child can't be in a higher brain state than you. So our intention carries energy. If my intention is to be helpful, the child will know, versus if my intent is for them to stop it, right? If I want compliance, I am emotional state. My emotional state carries a vibe, and that child is going to pick up on it. They can pick up on it better than anybody else. So we really need to get ourselves in check and be able to recognize that the child needs help. And look, if today is a rough day, and a million things have happened between work yesterday and me getting here this morning and today, this morning, I don't have it in me to feel like these children need my help. So I'm going to say to my coworker, I had a rough morning. I might need you to take over for me until I can, step out and take some deep breaths and maybe a walk or talk to somebody, and kind of get my brain where I need it to be. So you choose. You can be a responsive star or a reactive maniac in your classroom. I know which one your children need from you. I know which one your coworkers need from you. And I know which one feels better for you, right? You deserve to be composed when craziness is happening all around you. You deserve to take care of yourself and your own composure and how you feel inside your brain and your heart and your body. So, yes. Yes, yes, we want everybody to be calm so that we can help these children learn new skills and for you to be able to manage your classroom. But more than anything, I want you to learn composure and get a handle on your triggers, because life feels better when we don't feel like this reactive maniac, right? When we are able to say, that was tough, but I got this. I can handle this. Breathing doesn't fix everything. Composure doesn't fix everything. But if you want to get to the tools that can, this is where we must start, right? This is where we're starting. So two things can be true at the same time. You cannot be responsible for everybody else's poor behavior. And you can be making your own life a little more miserable by taking it personally, not breathing, and not staying composed. Okay. The highest version of you doesn't handle everything perfectly, right? So take a moment, right? Close your eyes if you feel safe to do so. Think about what you wish you could do when you walked into a classroom, not what you wish the kids and everybody else would do. Right? When you walk into your classroom and the kids are being kids, and your coworkers co-working, and your boss is bossing, right? What do you wish you could do in the face of all that, right? What does that person look like? How do they handle conflict? How do they treat the children in the classroom? How does that highest version of yourself treat your coworkers or handle things when the world's not going their way? Right? Do they gossip and talk behind other people's backs, or are they able to be composed and say like, "Hey, that didn't feel good. Let's figure this out so it doesn't happen again." Right? Do they lose their cool over and over again in the classroom, or are they able to breathe and help the children? Right? So that version of you exists, right? And you don't have to learn to be that person. You already are. We got to get the stuff out of the way, right? And the stuff in the way is our triggers. You're not going to get rid of your triggers, okay? But recognizing your triggers and being able to manage them. So your highest self, that highest version of yourself, uses your triggers as information and handles it in a way that maintains your peace. The highest version of you uses triggers for information and handles those situations in a way that keeps you close to your peace. So, what's your goal? And how are you going to get there? Okay. What's your goal and how are you going to get there? You've got this. You can handle this. I am wishing you well.